Welcome to The Running Man. So the new version of The Running Man is out. I saw it last night. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There's my review. Now, it's a good movie. Now that I've had time to sit on it and I've heard a few other people's takes and thought about it more, I'm like, there are a few things I can now point out that I'm like, maybe that didn't work as well. But the story follow again. Did they actually give a year? It's this a year for this film. It's a dystopian future. Yeah, they don't actually say the year. It's the near future. The USA is a dystopian police state ruled by corporate media networks, where most people live in poverty and with little access to healthcare. And people are kept pacified by Freebie, which is a bombards population with trashy reality shows and violent game shows. It's run by Josh Brolin. Obviously, Ben Richards, Glenn Powell, tries to get on one of the shows, and he's chosen to be on The Running Man. Now, he doesn't want to be on The Running Man, but the amount of money that could help save his family is too much to, pass up. And it's him trying to survive the 30 days while, they're trying to cheat the system. It's a pretty basic plot. We've seen this plot multiple times, including the previous Running Man. There was a film, was it on Apple or Amazon, that was similar to this, where Christoph Waltz was an extreme billionaire or whatever, and he offered the money to, I can't remember who it was, and to hunt him down, and he ended up surviving and all. Yeah. But it's based originally off a book, from what I understand. A book, ironically, I believe by Stephen King, if I'm not mistaken, or at least co-written or something like that. And from everything I understand, I've actually never watched the original movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not like the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. Or the Arnold Schwarzenegger is not actually like the book very much. This one apparently is closer to the book. And what this movie has going for it is a lot. It's got a great lead in Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell is a leading man. Like I said in my Out of the Theater reaction, theater review. I only really became aware of him, like a lot of people probably, around Top Gun Maverick. Now, he probably almost certainly hasn't had a career before then, but that was really his breakout role. If I try to look oh wow, he was in Spy Kids 3D. Wow. But then Hitman, The Running Man, Twisters, Anyone But You was the one I was trying to remember with Sydney Sweeney. So yeah, and I mean the guy's young too. He's only 37. This guy's gonna have a great long career ahead of him. He's got that leading man charm. This guy's got so much charisma, but he can play a badass. He also is in great shape. He's got a good personality. He's got that great vibe. At 37, he can be doing action films for a good long while, if he wants. But beyond that, he's just got that charm that makes him a really likable character. He's not a badass. But he's a badass in that sense of I will do anything to survive. There's nothing that will stop me from seeing my family, and that kind of drive is what we like about a character like him. And the fact that he is, by all accounts, still a regular guy. He's just done a lot of extreme work that makes him physically fit, and therefore he's good at thinking on his feet, and therefore he is willing to push himself and then fight back when he needs to. But then you have to have the guy who runs it. Josh Brolin is always fantastic. I've never seen a bad Josh Brolin performance. But again, that slimy, confident charm that comes with a character like this. And Josh Brolin has that in spades. Honestly, though, one of the standouts might be Coleman Domingo, who plays, I believe it's Bobby T, who basically hosts the Running Man. I kind of just like the fact that as the movie is progressing, he's kind of more and more understanding the situation as it is, and he's more than willing to eventually just kind of be done with it. But at the same time, he's so used to being the guy who's announced, oh yes, he's eating those last bites of that burrito. Enjoy it. These could be his last moments. Apparently in the Running Man, you have 3 different participants in the Running Man each season. So it's him, Glenn Powell. It's unfortunately I don't know the name of the other guy right now, but he's kind of relevant. And again, Katie M. O'Brien, who I'm I recognize her, who plays Laugh-In. She's the third one. And they describe it. They always pick three individuals. What was it? The final guy, the guy who's got the drive to go all the way. The idiot, more or less, who doesn't quite grasp what they're doing, and then the wild card, the one who's just kind of burns out the fade away kind of person. And that's the roles they play. Again, all the acting is great in the movie. Like the performances, Michael Cera is a lot of fun, man. I never hated Michael Cera, but I've never been a big Michael Cera fan. I definitely liked him in the film. And there's a few other actors that show up here or there, definitely. The movie itself is pretty well paced for the majority of it. But and there's good twists and turns that kind of come here and there. Not like super twists, but they do play around with certain plot elements. But if you're watching the film, you immediately know certain things aren't true and certain things are. Like, for example, without giving any too much away, we're getting near the end of the film, and the plane sequence comes near the end of the film. I'll say that. And Josh Brolin shows something to Glen Powell. Well, if you've been watching the film throughout, you know to question what is shown. I'll say that. And yeah, like, so when the realization of what has happened, I'm like, I'm not very surprised that's what happened. That said, however, I heard someone say that it kind of goes a little awry the last 45 minutes. And I had to think on the last 45 minutes, because the movie, honestly, isn't all that long. It's only it's 2 hours and 13 minutes, so it's a decent amount of time. But it's not an end-all, be-all kind of amount of time. You know, it's not a 3-hour movie. And 45 minutes of a 2 hour and 13-minute movie is a lot of time. So I had to stop and think. I'm like, okay, was it like the last 45 minutes where I would say it kind of loses itself? No, I wouldn't say it was the last 45 minutes. What I will say, though, is once we get to the plane sequence, that's where it does start to... Because I'm watching, I'm like, I'm still enjoying it, and even by the end, I'm like, I enjoyed it. It does lose something in the last, I want to say, 20-ish minutes. Maybe half hour. Because the plane sequence does last like 20 minutes on its own, plus there's a good 10 minutes after it. So, what's the best way for me to put it? It feels like they were trying to wrap this up as a story way too quickly. Especially that last chunk after the plane sequence. That last chunk feels like they were really trying to wrap this shit up. And like it just kind of ends in a way where I'm like, really? That's how we're gonna end it? I'm not certain how I feel about that. Is it a bad ending? I don't think it's a bad ending. Is the last 30 minutes terrible? No, there's still good stuff in it. But it does lose something a little bit. And again, it's a little hard to put it into words apart from it felt like they were trying to speed things along a little bit. So, do I hate this movie? God, no. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I mentioned in my out of the theater reaction, it definitely had a slight tone of the Fall Guy to it, where it's it's definitely a mix of an action and a comedy, but it's also got commentary, obviously, with it. It's even more relevant in this day and age. But it feels like a movie that is good enough to earn its money back, but will not earn its money back. I get the impression it's weird. I get the impression this is going to have a lower opening weekend than Predator Badlands did at $40 million. And I had more people in my screening of this movie than I did at Predator Badlands. I only had like 2-3 other people in my screening of Predator Badlands. So it's tough to say where this film is going to ultimately land on the radar. Let me find out what the budget for this is. 2025 budget. Because I had to assume it's like $100+ million. Okay, its reported budget is about $110 million. That feels about right. That does feel about right. Now, they did do a decent marketing budget, definitely. I don't know if I'd go the full 100, but sitting at 110, maybe 80 or 90. So if this film can hit 300, it'll be fine. I just don't know if it's going to make it to that. Well, let's wait and see what the budget's going to be like. But the problem this film ultimately is going to run into is competition. It also has Now You See Me, Now You Don't coming out this week, which I'm going to go see too. I actually have this Tuesday off coming up, which is matinee. So I'll actually probably go out and see it on Tuesday. Because I have seen the other two. I like the other two. I want to see this one. Actually, and honestly, I don't know what the I don't know what the audience reaction to this film right now is. Because the critical response is around 64%, which everything I had been hearing prior to this doesn't really bode well for this film. Like I was hearing, it was sounding like it was going to be more in like the 80s, or at least high 70s, but no. Now You See Me, Now You Don't doesn't have quite as high of a, it's actually down to 63 now. Now You See Me, Now You Don't is around 60%, which, you know what? I can't be surprised. The third installment of a franchise that is liked enough, but it's got an 83 audience rating. That means a lot of people enjoyed it enough, and maybe to get some fun if you don't want to see Predator Badlands again, you'll go out and see this. We'll have to wait and see what these films ultimately do long term. In terms of trailers, I got a couple ones I've already gotten. Let's see here now. Let's see here. Obviously, Avatar, Fire and Ash, got that. Am I looking forward to it? As much as I look forward to the other Avatar films, which is enough. I'll probably see it, enjoy it, and then be done with it. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we got that one again, which, again, I'm not against it. I actually enjoyed the first Five Nights at Freddy's. It does look like they're leaning a bit more into the horror aspect of this. Now, that being said, we did have some other trailers as well. Give me 1 second here. Most of them for movies coming out next year. So let me just go to next year's movies real quick. And I really got to start writing out the end of the year box office now. Let's see here. Greenland 2, Migration. Oh, and Primate. Look, I'll be honest. That doesn't look good. But I didn't see the first Greenland, so I'll probably end up at that on January 9th. I'll say this, the chimp effect is actually not terrible. It does look fake as hell at points, but they do make the chimp at least a little unsettling, to say the least. The Bone Temple, 28 years later, which I'll probably just look up the plot. I care enough about it to be like, oh, what's going to happen in there? But that's kind of about it. Wuthering Heights in February. I wish I had more to say about that. Scream 7. I think that's all we got, but Scream 7. I saw that remake with Jenna Ortega. Or reboot, I guess is better. Requel. It was good. I liked it. I didn't see the other one, the one that came after it. And now they're kind of moving away from the new cast because apparently because Jenna Ortega's busy, and B, the original lead of that political shit. And I don't want noise on this, so okay, there we go. I'm sorry, I had a video and it was about to start playing again. So they went back to Neve Campbell, and look, I made a point of saying Neve Campbell was never unattractive, but Neve Campbell got hot. Like, she aged really well. Me and my girlfriend are watching Twisted Metal. We just finished season 1. And even Stephanie Beatrice even comes like, you told me she's so hot. Anyway, I digress. I enjoyed the film. It does lose some steam. It loses something in the last act. But otherwise, I enjoyed myself immensely in this. You know what? Let me backtrack further. I think it goes a little bit more awry once he gets into the car with that character. I think that's kind of the start of the end a little bit. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think it's perfect. Maybe you hate it completely. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen it, what your thoughts are on it. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.